Namaste, yogis. Welcome back. 1 hour of yin and yang. We're going to work our way to getting started. I'm going to ask Daniel to come out. He will be our demonstrator for today. We will get started in child's pose. So if you want to sit towards the back of your mat on the tops of the feet and the shins. Big toes touch. Knees can touch as well unless you prefer to open them a comfortable width apart. Arms can extend forward or down the sides of the body. But wherever you go, just allowing yourself to land. Getting past any fidgeting or movement early on is always best. Maybe letting go of a few audible exhales. As really breathing is one of the key components in letting go. Every inhale is actually seen as bringing fresh, healing, rejuvenating energy into the body, and it's the exhales that absorb all the toxins, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, and flush them out of the body. So as we land within our body, on the mat, noticing the mind, we will together let go of a nice long exhale. And then take a deep inhale through your nose. Send that breath to the hook of your tailbone. Feel your ribs expand out, the spine lengthen. Open up the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose. Fill from the bottom to the top and hold your breath. Unless you're pregnant, you always want to keep breathing. Then open up the mouth and audibly let it go. And take another long, slow, deep inhale through the nose, capping it off at the peak. This time, keeping the lips sealed, you'll just slowly exhale out the nose. And then continue to breathe in and out your nose as slowly and as deeply as you can. Nothing forced necessarily, just long, mindful breaths. If you have something like Ujjayi Pranayama in your practice, feel free to tap into it. If not, just remembering that it's really the breath that is meant to keep the mind and the body equal, poised, and balanced. So if at any point focusing on your breath actually begins to stress you out, that means it's having the opposite effect than it's meant to have. So just notice the state of the mind, the state of the body, as you just slowly and mindfully breathe. And that's what you're trying to take with you throughout the rest of class. So as you're ready, with your next inhale, we'll slowly extend the arms long to the front of the mat. Open your hands up, shoulders distance apart. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, we'll come up to all fours or tabletop. Your knees open or closed just enough that they stack directly into the hips, wrists directly into the shoulders. And then with an inhale, cow. Drop your belly towards the mat, lift your tailbone and glance up. And then exhale, cat. Tuck your tailbone round through the shoulders, let your head hang heavy. Inhale, gentle sway in the back. Exhale, round and curl like a scared cat. Then just go on your own, breath per movement, back and forth. And remember, any organic movements that come naturally to your body, circular movements, flipping your fingers in a different direction to get into your wrists, your forearms, just the arms a little differently. This is your practice. Make sure you do go both ways within those circles, evening it out if you haven't already. But most importantly, remember you're breathing. And then with your next inhale, no rush, we'll come to a flat back or neutral spine. Sitting bones point back, crown of the head lengthens forward. Go ahead and kick your right leg straight back behind you. Flex through the heel, hovering it in line with your hip. Notice if the right hip dropped, you need to lift it up level with the left. Squeeze the inner thighs a little closer together. Pull the belly tight. Now I want you to inhale, lean your shoulders way forward, and exhale, bend your arms, elbows hug back as you gently bring your chin to the mat. No pressure in the chin. Inhale, press your arms straight. Exhale, knee to nose, round through the shoulders, pull the belly tight. Inhale, kick the leg back, lean your shoulders forward. The further forward you lean, the easier it is. Exhale, bend your arms, hug the elbows in. Inhale, straighten the arms, knee to nose, belly tight. Inhale, extend the leg back, lean forward. Exhale, chaturanga in the arms. Inhale, push your arms straight. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend the leg back and pause. Tuck your left toes, three-legged dog. Lift the right leg and hips to the sky. Relax the head and neck. Go ahead and bend your right knee, open up the hip. Right heel pulls towards your left glute. Outer right shoulder and rib cage wrap down. Lower belly pulls tight. Now find the tippy toes of that back foot. Create a little bit more space between your chest and the ground. Exhale, pull the knee down and across to your left elbow. Now you're going to sweep that arm past your knee past your right arm out to the side of the room and then back up to the sky, opening your hip. Exhale, pull the knee down and over to the left. A big swipe past your right arm to the side of the room and back up to the sky. On your own, breath per movement, just like this. Make those long, slow, deep breaths so these movements fulfill that. Every exhale pulls the knee down and over. Every inhale takes that leg out and up, opening. So just breathe, flow, follow your breath. We'll meet with your next inhale, hip opening, relaxing the head and neck. Find the tippy toes of your back foot. Exhale, pull the knee to your chest, shoulders land at your wrist, look forward, and gently step next to your right thumb. Staying on the back toes, think Cobra Up Dog in your shoulders, and a high plank in that back leg. Push your left heel back, lift your left thigh bone up. Pull the belly tight, and then reach your arms back like wings, palms face the earth or each other. Shoulders draw down away from your ears, front body pulls in towards your spine. Crown of the head and the tips of your ears lengthen forward. So both the front and the back of your neck are long. Breathe. Now keeping everything as it is, inhale, just extend your arms forward. Palms face each other. Triceps hug down by your shoulders protracting. Wrap those shoulder blades to your outer rib cage. Hug your front rib cage in, and then try to lift your arms a little higher, more in line with the ears, if maybe not even past them. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat, pause, pull your front leg straight or straight-ish. Maybe you can even flex the whole right foot back, rocking to the back of your heel, but how far you take it doesn't matter. I'm more interested in you just releasing that hamstring. So squeeze the inner thighs together, let your forehead fall towards the shin, pull the belly to the spine. Get both hips to push up and back, and as long as you feel a stretch in the back of your right leg, you're doing enough. And slowly go ahead and rebend your front knee. Cobra Up Dog in your shoulders, high plank in that back leg. Pull your belly tight, and then with an inhale, this time reach your arms straight forward. Go straight back to where we were just at a moment ago. Energize your back leg, hug the right hip in. Notice the front knee, make sure it stacks at the center of your ankle. And then push down to rise up, crescent pose, lifting the chest. Bend your back knee, enough that you can mobilize your hips. You want to be able to tuck your tailbone down and lift the front of your hips up, neutralizing the pelvis. Pull the lower belly tight to maintain that, and then begin to work your inner right thigh forward and down as you lift the inner left thigh back and up. Don't worry about getting the leg fully straight, it'll get there in time. Straighten out those arms as if you're karate chopping them forward without actually letting them go forward. The trapezius muscle softens. It's not the shoulder blade itself. The shoulder blade naturally lifts when we lift our arms up. So let it. Just soften the muscles along the tops of your shoulders. Deepen your breath. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lower your chest halfway, reach down and back, palms face the earth. Now I want you to lean so far forward that the weight of your head naturally picks your back foot up, warrior three. Flex the back foot, spin your outer left hip down, make sure it levels out the right, hug your outer right hip back. It has a tendency to kind of pop out. Push the top of your right thigh back, pull the belly in, Cobra Up Dog to the shoulders. And then try to lift your back leg and your arms a little higher to almost get a cow pose sensation within the back. Beautiful. Take an inhale. Exhale, just release your hands down, vertical splits. Relax the head and neck. Flex that left heel. Let your belly fall towards your thigh, even though it's pulling in towards your spine. Let the chest work towards the knee as your chin, nose, and forehead fall towards the shin. Back leg stays extremely active, straight and strong. Look at the back toes. Make sure all 5 toes do flex straight down, or if anything, just slightly to your right, but nothing dramatic so that left hip is sagging. Breathe. Now bending your standing leg as deep as you can. Let your torso literally rest on top of your thigh for a moment. Look at your back leg. Make sure it didn't do the same thing. Kick the leg straight. Keep that leg high. Now pull the belly tight. Think Cobra Up Dog in your shoulders as you pull your hands to heart center. A bent knee, warrior 3. Oh yeah. Left leg active, right leg on fire. Soften your face. And then without touching your left foot to the mat immediately, just press up to standing, lift the chest, slide your left foot next to right as you straighten. Oh yeah. Holy Toledo's Batman. Big toes touch, heels separate just a little bit. Inhale, Tadasana, arms fall before they rise. Maybe watch your palms kiss. Exhale, forward fold, lead with the heart, hinge at the hips. Inhale, flat back, lengthen the spine out. Exhale, plant your hands, step, maybe jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, we'll inhale to high plank. From high plank, you're going to slowly lower your knees to the ground. If you did a push-up, that's on you. Just kidding. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Inhale, cow, drop your belly down, lift the tailbone and glance up. Exhale, cat, round and curl. Inhale, sway in the back. Exhale, pull the belly tight to lift the spine up. On your own, breath per movement. And this time, maybe you do it one hand at a time. Flip the tops of your hand down, fingers point towards the knee, so you're getting the opposite flexion in your hand that you normally would. So flip the top of your hand down, just one hand at a time. But continue your cat-cows. Keep hugging your tricep back. That right arm or left arm, whichever top of the hand is down, stays straight. Go ahead and switch hands if you're doing one at a time. Some people get the strength and the mobility within the wrist to eventually do both at the same time, but you never want to feel sharp pains or sensations within the wrist. We want to be very sensitive. Breathe. And then let's bring both hands to neutral. Lift your left leg up and back, flex the heel, it levels out with your hip. Your left hip needs to level out with the right, the lower belly pulls to the spine. You lean your shoulders forward. Remember, the further forward you lean, the easier this actually gets. Bend your elbows, gently touch the chin to the mat. Inhale, push your arms straight, and exhale, knee to nose, round and curl, cat. Inhale, shoot the leg back, lean forward. Exhale, don't face plant, chin to the mat. Inhale, press up. Exhale, knee to nose. We got one more. Inhale, lean out, leg goes back. Exhale, bend your arms. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale, knee to nose. And then inhale, stretch the leg back. Pause, tuck your right toes, three-legged dog. Press that left heel up and back as you lift the hips. Relax your head and neck. Bend your left knee. Pull the heel towards the bottom and lift your left knee and hip up towards the ceiling. But notice if that left shoulder goes along for the ride, wrap it down. The opening actually comes from you anchoring down into both hands into the right heel. Hug your right hip back and then lift the right hip crease up for height. Hug those front ribs in. Breathe. Now find the tippy toes of your back foot. Exhale, pull the knee down and over to your right. Swiping the knee past your left arm towards the side of the room and then up to the sky, opening your hip. Exhale, pull the knee down and over to the right. Circle it out to the left and then up to the sky. So on your own, as fluid as you can make this, try not to be choppy, like tapping the knee to the right arm and then tapping it to the left. Think swiping motion. What is that? Like left on Tinder or whatever app that is. right and left. I don't know. I've never been on any of those. But use that swiping motion, that circular fluid to get into that hip. And then we'll meet with that leg lifting the hip opening. Find the tippy toes of your back foot. Exhale, knee to chest, look forward, step next to your left thumb. Cobra Up Dog, your shoulders off the thigh. Right heel pushes back, right thigh bone lifts up, left hip hugs back. Belly pulls tight, you reach your arms back, taking away that support. Broaden the collarbones, but notice if you do that just by pinching your shoulder blades together. You want to draw the shoulder blades down the back, and slightly even here, try to draw them apart so they're not just pinching and collecting at the middle of the spine. But you do want to feel the space between them turning on, the rhomboids, the trapezius, along with your serratus. And then keeping your chest at this hover, inhale, extend your arms forward. Palms face each other. Eventually the arms actually come closer and closer together, as if you're holding a block in between your hands, hugging the triceps forward, tops of your shoulders soften. Lower belly pulls in. Then we just lift the arms a little higher than the ears, adding some heat. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands down. Pull your front leg straight. Relax your head and neck. And remember, straight is a very relative term. There might be a little bend, there might be a bigger bend. Your leg might be straight, and you might even be able to flex your left foot back. It just depends on your hamstrings. And remember, stretching or releasing your hamstrings has nothing to do with a straight leg. So as long as you can press the weight into the middle of the front foot, squeeze the inner thighs closer together, you should feel the back of your left leg lifting. Allow the head to fall forward and down. Breathe. And then inhale, slowly rebend your front knee. Cobra Up Dog in your shoulders, high plank in that back leg. Pull your belly tight, and then just reach your arms forward. Find your breath immediately as we're entering the heat of this. Soften your face. Now can you push evenly into both feet to slowly lift up, reach to the sky, bend your back knee, mobilize the hips. You want the pelvis to become neutral, not too much Michael Jackson in the sense that you flatten out the lower back. You want the lumbar spine to lengthen, and then once your lower back is safe, you work your inner thighs away from each other. Think side split. You should feel a deep stretch across the front of your right hip and even into the quadricep. As the arms lift, remember, it's natural. The scapula are going to lift. That is normal as we lift the arms. But you want the top muscles across the base of your neck and shoulders to soften or drop down. Extend through the fingertips. Breathe. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower your chest halfway, reach down and back, palms face the earth. And it's not a propel. The back leg stays this straight. You just lean forward. It's more like a teeter-totter. The weight coming forward lifts the back foot up. Beautiful. Flex that back foot. Hug the outer left hip in as you push your left thigh back. Pull the lower belly to the spine so you don't feel the pressure in the lower back. Arms extending back. You think Cobra Up Dog in the shoulders, but knit the front ribs together. Now try to lift your back leg and your arms a little bit higher than they are, almost finding a cow sensation within the back body. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat, vertical splits, relax the head and neck. Stretch that left hamstring out, flex the back heel, using that back body to lift the right leg a little more. Pull the belly to the spine. Forehead towards your shin. Breathe. So keep your torso exactly as it is. All you need to do is bend your left leg as deep as you can without letting your heel lift up off the mat. Make sure you look at your back leg. We have this tendency to want to do the same thing in both legs. That back leg stays straight. Once you've checked in with that, Cobra Up Dog your shoulders, pull your hands to heart center, belly away from the thigh, bent knee, warrior 3. Breathe. So remember, don't just set your right foot down and use both legs to press you to standing. Take an inhale, press up to Tadasana. Left leg goes straight as the right foot slowly sets next to left. Oh, why is this happening? Inhale, Tadasana. Circle the arms up, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Inhale, glance out. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. and exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, let's just take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Hold this breath at the very top. Open up the mouth. One more. Deep inhale through the nose to hold. This time, like a line, stick out your tongue. And just go back to breathing in and out your nose. And then with an inhale, let's bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, walk or spring to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, reverse swan dive your arms to the sky. Tadasana with a flat back. Come up. And then exhale, pull the hands to heart center. So feet about hips distance apart. Big toes turn slightly in, heels slightly out. Just enough that all 10 toes do point straight forward. I just want you to inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. Let your left arm stay on the side of your body. Maybe even grabbing onto the outer left thigh for some support. Now I want you to look down as if you're looking into your front left hand pocket. Or your chin falls towards your left shoulder. So imagine you were wearing a pair of jeans in that front left hand pocket. This should help stretch and release the levitator scapula, this little teeny muscle that's in charge of kind of levitating your scapula, but it should help release it. Now keep that sensation. Begin to slide your left hand down the outer leg, arching to the right side body, grounding down to the right foot, lifting the left ribs away from your hip, pulling the belly to the spine. Now keep this shape, but go ahead and wrap your right hand onto the lower back, just kind of placing it there, getting a deeper stretch. Maybe turn your left ear towards the shoulder, see how that feels. And then inhale, slowly reach your left arm to the sky. Let your right hand fall down the thigh as you lift your chest. Remember, as if you're wearing jeans with pockets, look at your front right pocket, chin coming towards your right shoulder. You should feel this little stretch just at the very top of your left shoulder. Reaching up, pulling the front body in. Now grounding down to your left foot, let that right hand slide down your leg. Lift the right ribs off of the hip. Pull the lower belly in, draw the right shoulder generally forward so it does stack directly into the left. And then play with maybe wrapping that left hand onto the lower back. You don't have to grab the hip, just place the back of your hand there, hug your left shoulder back, and then play with turning your right ear to your right shoulder rather than the chin. Feel the difference in the stretch. A little yin in our yang. Inhale, Tadasana, reach both arms up, grow tall. And then exhale, forward fold, lead with your hips. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, Chaturanga, take your time. Inhale, brings your back bend. And exhale, guides downward dog. So from downward dog, let's inhale the right leg to the sky. Exhale, pull that knee to your chest, shoulders land at your wrist, pause. Belly tight, take the knee to your left elbow, tap it there. Take it to your right elbow, back into your chest. Now let your knee dip towards the mat without letting the foot touch the ground. And then pull the knee back into your chest, pause, lean forward. Bend your arms as much as you can to halfway. Inhale, push your arms straight. Exhale, step the foot forward. That was fun. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Crescent pose. So settle in, neutralize your pelvis. Do what you need to do. Remember, don't be attached to the idea of a straight leg. That will maybe come with time and maybe not. Just depends on your body, and that's okay. But soften your face. Deepen your breath. You're going to take your right hand and just wrap it onto your lower back. Back of the hand to your lower back. Right shoulder hugs back. Elbow kind of pulls forward against that though. Now pull the belly tight. Look down, right chin to right shoulder, just like we did it standing. And begin to reach your left arm kind of over to the right. But draw that right shoulder forward. Don't let it sneak back behind you, right? There you go. Breathe, belly tight, drive through the outer edge of your left ankle. Hook your right sit bone towards your inner left thigh so your hips stay neutral. And then inhale, slowly grow back up towards the sky. Reach your right arm back, pull your left arm forward and revolve your chest open over the front leg. Make sure your hips didn't go with you. Think of this more like line dancing than the salsa. They should not be involved. Take an inhale. Exhale, left hand to the mat, right arm tips up to the sky. We will twist. So left palm presses into the mat, roll your left shoulder blade down the back, drive your left heel straight back behind your big toe, left thigh bone lifts up towards the ceiling, hug that outer right hip in, pull the lower belly and front ribs in. That top arm, we have a tendency to pinch back, but even here we're trying to broaden the shoulder blades apart to broaden the front body as well. Whether you look up towards your right hand, down to the mat, or straight out to the side of the room is up to you. But breathe. Now listen carefully. You're going to keep everything as it is, but flex both feet and turn the toes out to the right. Resting on the knife edge of your left foot, shuffle your right foot down the mat maybe 6 inches, just so that foot is flat on the floor. Your right knee stacks above your ankle. And then on an inhale, I want you to drop your left hip towards the mat, but hover at about 1 inch and reach your right hand towards your left foot. Yep. So you should feel kind of a stretch to that left IT band. You should release that right shoulder a little bit. Now inhale, lift the hips, reach your right arm up. Let's do 2 more. Exhale, left hip hovers, right hand reaches towards your back foot. Inhale, lift the hips, reach your right arm up. 1 more. Exhale, hips hover, right arm reaches back. Pause, pull the belly tight. In your mind's eye, I want you to think of side plank, and then with an inhale, lift the hips, reach your right arm up, and step your right foot on top of the left. Drop your left knee if you need it. Take that modification. If not, maybe stagger your top foot in front of the bottom. Big toe to big toe, eventually flex your feet. Lift the bottom hip up, tilt your top hip forward so they level out, and then sandwich the front and back of your body. So as you pull your front ribs, belly, and push your thighs back, you want to push your hamstrings, your butt, and those biospinal muscles forward. Once you feel stable, maybe you take your top arm up and overhead, reaching for the front of the room. Palm facing the mat. Left tricep, that's in the bottom arm, hugs back still. Breathe, take an inhale. Ever so gracefully, exhale, high plank. Lean out, chaturanga, lower slow. Inhale, find your back bend. And exhale, downward dog. So from downward dog, let's inhale the left leg to the sky, flexing to the heel. Exhale, pull the knee to your chest. Pause, freeze your body, but you're going to take the knee to your right elbow, and then bring it to your left. Now bring it back into your chest, pause, you're going to let the knee fall towards the mat without letting it touch. Pull the knee back into your chest, lean forward, bend your arms. Press them straight and then step forward. Out of breath, just talking you through that. Inhale, crescent pose, reach up to the sky. So find your stance, neutralize your pelvis, check in with your breath, remember first and foremost. And then as you feel ready, we're going to take that left hand and just place the back of your hand onto the lower back like you're doing a half bind. Pull the front of your left shoulder back, but then push your left elbow forward into that without letting your your scapula chicken wing. Hug that scapula in. Now you're going to let your left chin, or your left chin, because we have like 4 chins. Let your chin look at your left hip so the chin falls towards your shoulder. And then, without letting your left shoulder pull back, you're just going to begin to reach your right arm straight over to the left, driving through the outer edge of that right ankle. Remember, resist the shoulder blade in, hug the front ribs in, but make sure that left elbow pulls forward a little bit. Breathe. And then inhale, slowly lift your torso to neutral. Reach your left arm back, right arm forward. We twist open. Not only expanding the chest, that's very easy to do. We do that generally by pinching the shoulders back. So as you open your chest, it's also very important that you still broaden the shoulders apart. Keep the hips neutral. Breathe. Take an inhale. As if you were in slow motion, exhale, right hand to the mat, left arm lifts up to the sky. Right palm must plant flat in the floor. Top arm just reaching straight up. Back heel pushes back, right thigh bone lifts up. Front body hugs in. So remember, where you look is totally up to you, but you're going to flex both feet and turn the toes out to your left. Rest on the knife edge of your back foot. So you don't want the ankle to sickle or rest on that outer ankle bone. You want the foot to be pushing into the ground. Shuffle your left foot down about 6 inches. Foot is flat on the floor, knee over ankle. Slowly allow your right hip to fall to the mat, but hover it about 1 inch and reach your left hand back for your right foot. And then inhale, explode those hips up, reach your arm up. Exhale, hips hover, left arm reaches back. And then inhale, lift up. One more. Exhale, find that hover, feel it in your IT band, soften the shoulders. Now while you sit here, think side plank, and then with an inhale, lift up, step back, side plank. Dropping the right knee, staggering your feet, doing what you need to do, remember, to find your balance. And remember, it is an energetic sandwich between the front and back of your bodies. It's like the Himalayas. It was 2 continents that collided together that created this massive explosion of energy. That's what we're trying to do within our body. So front and back bodies collide. From the heels to the crown of the head, expand out. Maybe you take that top arm up and overhead, palm facing the mat. Maybe you look up underneath your arm. If not, it's just a great way to know if you put on deodorant today. No, Daniel didn't. I can tell by his face. Take an inhale. Exhale, high plank. Set it up, chaturanga as you're ready. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, go ahead and drop to your knees. Cross one ankle over the other, sit back behind your feet and bring your legs straight out in front of you. Thank you, Lord. There is a God. So with your legs straight out in front of you, find your sit bones. Grab the cushion, aka butt cheek, pull it back, do the same thing to both sides. Now listen carefully, because there's lots of rights and lefts in this, and because I'm dyslexic, sometimes I mix it up. So just pay attention. I'll do my best not to mix it up. You're going to bend your right leg and plant your foot on the outside of your left leg. Hug that knee into your chest and just sit up tall. So this might be as far as you go. If you feel that within that right hip joint already, don't go any further. If you have hip replacements, you are going to do maybe crisscross applesauce, do something else. You will not follow along with this. If you want to go further, you're going to take your left hand, grab onto your right foot, and just pull it back towards your outer hip. You should rest on the pinky-toed top edge of your foot. Right knee falls open on top of the left. Notice how that feels. You might choose to stay here. I generally do. If you want to go further, you lean into your left hip a little bit, bending that left leg and taking your foot to the outer right hip. Gomukhasana, but you want both sit bones in the ground, so don't sit on your right foot. If that right sit bone isn't in the mat, you need to sit up on a pillow, a bolster, maybe even a block. Get those sit bones level. Try to stack your knees. So if the knees aren't completely stacked, you could even lean forward, crawling onto the hands, pressing the knees together, and then sitting back onto your sit bones. So stay here, maybe. If you want to add the upper body, reach your left arm towards the sky. You'll place the hand in between your shoulder blades, so the palm is in your back. You might use your right hand to snuggle that hand down the back. You might stay with this option, just sit. You could even fold with this option. Even if you're in the half Gomukhasana with your left leg straight, you could fold here. If you want to take the full Gomukhasana arms, the right arm is going to wrap up your back, reaching with the back of your hand now in the back opposite fingertips, right? So the left palm is in your back, the back of your right hand is in the back, and you should be able to grasp your hands pretty nicely. Hug the front body in. And then round your spine. You might even put a block on top of your legs to round over, letting the forehead work its way towards the shin. Gomukhasana translates into the cow face pose. Sometimes you hear the smiling cow. I don't know why they call it that. Maybe if you smile, it will help. It doesn't. I've tried it. This pose is worse than Chinese waterboard torture to me. I hate this pose. So this is one of those ones that I definitely do less in, and that's okay. And it's one of those ones that I definitely struggle in to sit with. My body literally almost resists it. My muscles begin to tremble and shake. So it takes every ounce within myself to be okay with where I'm at. And this tends to be one of those poses that it's generally two extremes. There's people like me, and then there's people that look like Daniel, and they could probably sleep in this pose and be okay with it. Right? Doesn't matter which variation you are, just acknowledge where you're at, how it feels. And if you're not in this pose, you're in Sukhasana, reclining pigeon, lucky you. But wherever you end up, just make sure you do breathe. Soften in the face. Deepen the breath. Just try to find that place of surrender and acceptance of where you're at. And a gentle kind of reminder, silver lining that sooner always comes before later. So keeping everything as it is, you're going to just gently release the grip of your hands. Let the left arm just fall forward. Take your time, especially with the right arm, to slide it down the back. Once you take it out to the side, you might even kind of rotate your palm backwards and upwards, kind of to rotate that shoulder joint a little bit. And then let both arms hang heavy. Flipping the palms down if they're not already. Push into your palms, and on an exhale, begin to roll your spine up. Belly pulls in. Try to articulate it vertebrae by vertebrae. Use your hands to press down, to lift up. Once you're up, take your hands about a foot behind you so you can lean back into your hips. Remove the block if it's on top of you still. Untangle your legs, take your time, be gentle. Step your feet wide to the outer edges of the mat, and just let your knees knock side to side. This will floss out the hips. It should feel really, really nice. And then as you're ready, you'll come to seated, legs straight out in front of you. Still important to find your sit bones. Make sure the tailbone and the pelvis isn't rounding underneath you, because if you take seated hip openers with that happening, they can actually aggravate sciatica rather than release it. Bend your left leg, plant that foot on the outer edge of your right thigh. Sit up tall, hug your knee into your chest. This, remember, could be where you stay. Don't feel pressured ever to take anything further than your body's ready for. Right hand will grab onto the left foot and you pull it back. Bringing the top of your foot down, letting the knee flop open. You could stay here and even take the arm variation that we're going to add into it. If you want to go further, you lean into the right hip, bending that right knee, and bringing the foot to the outer edge of your left hip. But remember, do not sit on your foot. If anything, you sit on a prop to make sure both sit bones are level. The knees should stack up. Be gentle in the knees. Don't force anything, please. And then once you feel situated and you're ready to add the arms, we'll reach the right arm up towards the sky, flip the palm back, and then bend your elbow, letting the palm come in between the shoulders. Maybe use that right hand to nuzzle the hand down. You could stay here using that right arm as support, or left arm as support. If you want to go further, you'll take your left arm out, flip the palm again back, so the top of your hand slides up in between the shoulders. Generally, we have one side that is much more congested than the other. If you can grab opposite fingers, great. If not, a strap, a towel, you could pretend. Maybe you place this prop in between your thigh and the torso and then round your spine as much as you can. Use the prop to get the spine to round and work the forehead towards your shin or top of the knee. No sharp shooting pains should be felt anywhere. But this one, obviously, within the hips and the shoulders, it can be very uncomfortable. And there's a very fine line between discomfort, sensation, and pain. And you always want to walk away from pain, even if that means completely getting out of the pose. But don't shy away from sensation or discomfort. In fact, you want to face it, breathe through it, ride its ebbs and flows. Because if we are comfortable, we're not growing. As cliche as that sounds, it is quite on point, very accurate, especially in the description of yin. So focus on your breath. Be okay with sitting still. Be okay with the moments of silence where I'm not there talking you and guiding you through it. Become more dependent on your breath, on your ability to gauge the body, the mind. Because the reality is that no teacher can ever tell you, oh, this feels good in your body, or this is going to cause injury. I mean, more or less we can sometimes see misalignments, but really it depends on the individual to get to know their body very intimately. And also understanding that the body can feel differently day in and day out, depending on old injuries resurfacing, new injuries, emotional levels, stress levels, our activity level. I mean, so many things factor in beyond the simple fact of DNA and genetics that make our body develop a certain way. So we have to take in all of that into account and respect it. So without changing anything, remember, just release the clasp of your hands, and the top arm, the right arm, will just fall forward towards the mat. Very slowly, you'll slide that left hand down the back. Be gentle, releasing that rotation. Take the arm out and maybe flip the palm up and down, just rotating that rotator cuff. And then let your arms hang heavy. Maybe this allows you to ease yourself into the pose a bit more rather than kind of fighting or resisting it. And then flipping the palms down on an exhale so you can pull the belly in to support the spine. You'll gently roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Neck and head should always be last to come. Generally, you'll feel warm. Sometimes it feels cool, depending on the state of your body. A flush down the neck, shoulders, and the spine. Remove the prop. Plant your hands behind you. Lean back, unwrap the legs, plant the feet wide. Take your time, don't rush that. Let your knees windshield side to side. And coming to center, scooting your bottom forward, bending the knees, just grab the backs of your thighs and very slowly roll down. Try to resist that place where you want to just collapse back. Once you're flat on the back, keep the knees bent, and again, step the feet very wide to the outer edges of your mat. Open the arms out like wings, palms face up. If you don't have the space, you can always just cactus arm. Now let your knees fall to your left, maybe looking out towards the right. You want to just make sure that the right knee does point straight out from your hip. So straight forward to the front of your mat. You may even slide your right heel up towards your right hand a little bit more. If your right knee doesn't ever touch the mat, you might put a block or a bolster underneath it, just so you don't put too much pressure within the inner knee. If your knee is on the mat or relatively close to it, you could bring your left ankle to the top of your right knee. It's a very open version of a twist, but getting an internal rotation of your right leg, externally rotating the left. Kind of starfishing, but not really. Almost there. As you sit here and that right knee gets heavier, you may begin to feel more of the sensation out that outer right thigh down the IT band. It's one of the biggest ligaments within the body. As you're ready, you'll just bring your glance up to center, bring knees up through center. And then keeping the feet wide, again, let your knees now fall to the right as maybe you look to the left. Making sure that left knee does come straight out from the hip, maybe sliding your heel up towards the left hand. That's an over-exaggeration, but kind of keeping a 90-degree angle in that leg. And if that left knee does not hit the mat, remember, put a block under it, a pillow, something to support it so you don't put pressure in the inner knee. Maybe you bring the right ankle to the top of your left knee, weighing it down if you need that. Glancing over the left hand, if the neck allows it. If not, you can just kind of find somewhere between, maybe looking to the ceiling and out to the left hand, or just look up to the ceiling. Just taking the time to allow your body to become heavier and heavier with every exhale. Finding a little bit more sense of release, of letting go. And bringing your glance up through center, gently lift the knees up through center. So you could keep the feet wide and allow your knees to knock together up top. If you want to slide the legs out for Savasana, be my guest. Arms can stay out wide. They could slide down your sides. You might even take them over your head. Whatever shape you find yourself in, Savasana or the corpse pose is meant to be the ultimate state of letting go, where we finally come to rest, no longer having to tell our body where to go and what to do, no longer manipulating muscles, joints, position of bones. You can even let go of your breath, which you've worked so hard to maintain throughout the rest of class. Allow your body to begin to melt and soften. And just like a pool that sits on the sidewalk under the sun, it slowly begins to sink beneath the surface. Giving yourself the opportunity to dive a little deeper. Really, Savasana is the closest thing we come to actual yoga within the practice of asana. Getting so still, letting go of our material responsibilities, obligations, and opinions, of how we think we want or need our body to be, even letting go of the state of the mind and doing some soul searching. Maybe asking the questions of who am I beyond the body and the mind? Where is my source? What is my purpose? So just use this as one big exhale, a place to finally release and let go. So as I mentioned earlier, that Savasana is really as close to what yoga is actually about as we get within the practice of asana. And that is because the practice of asana, or the poses, is actually not required to master yoga. Yogis would actually just use them to keep the body and the mind in a state of health, harmony and balance, so that they could actually then pursue the purpose of yoga. And yoga in itself is a very spiritually driven thing. And in order to understand that, we have to understand the definition of the word spirituality, which is very loosely thrown around today. And spirituality has nothing to do with spirit animals, crystals, chakras, those glowing orbs of energy that line the center of our bodies. Spirituality, if you actually look up the definition, it deals with the things that contribute to the spirit or the soul. Yet within the world of so-called spirituality nowadays, you don't even hear the word spirit used because it makes people uncomfortable, generally because some sort of trauma they may have had with, say, religion, that they use that word quite freely. Within yoga, we have to understand aham brahmasmi, that I am spirit. That each and every one of us are this eternal being, that spirit or soul that is temporarily dwelling within the body. And all these things like asana, chakras, auras, crystals, even spirit animals, they have to do with the state of the temporary material body. And it's not that that is not important, because this body and the mind are meant to be used as tools, as I said, to progress one's spiritual growth and understanding. But digging past the material, mundane, surfacey stuff can be very challenging and very confronting, very uncomfortable. But it is required. The best thing we can do is get uncomfortable, face ourselves on a level that ordinarily we would run from. Ask yourself the question of, well, who am I as spirit? Where do I come from? What is my source? Is there a God? Is there not a God? And if there is, what is my position amongst all of it? And yoga really is a step-by-step guidebook to help guide us through this journey. But that journey is something that only you and you alone can do. Just as much as I'd like to maybe do Daniel's chaturangas for him or crescent poses, that wouldn't build his strength, his ability, right? And so spirituality is the same. Nobody can do the work for you. So today I am going to offer you the benefit of laying here in Savasana for however long you would like, but use the time maybe to sit within meditation and ask those deeper questions. And however long you choose to sit here, again, is up to you. And hopefully that is something you take with you off the rubber mat and into your day-to-day life. But on that note, namaste.